All right. Let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, just had it. Salakia, just bear with me 1 second. It's The Truth in Plain Sight and True Redemption. So it's like a two-part lesson that kind of ties in to one. And I was watching this movie here on Netflix, Cloud Atlas, starring Tom Hanks and Halle Berry. And, just to give you a warning, there's some homo stuff in there, so you may not want to watch it, because I pretty much kind of stopped watching it because, there was no need for it. But apparently this movie came out in 2012, and it's supposed to be 5 separate stories in one movie. And the very first beginning, Tom Hanks as a older individual with one eye was given a story, a narrative. Then this guy here in another scene came to Tom Hanks as Tom Hanks was digging, and they were talking, and pretty much they sat down to dinner, and there was a dinner scene where they were talking about different things, and the Bible and woman's place and blase, the sun, moon, and stars. You know how that goes. So this guy starts to speak, and he said, this is what he says around the 6 minute and 57 second. He says, if God created the world, how do we know what things we can change and what things must remain inviolable? So I looked up that word inviolable, and it means never to be broken, infringed, or dishonored. So let's read that again. This is what he said. If God created the world, how do we know that what things we can change and what things must remain inviolable? And the word inviolable, never to be broken, infringed, or dishonored. And the very next scene after he said that, you had Jake in total slavery. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, these devils know who Jake is. It says they had Jake in slavery in the field. And then as he's walking through, he's all hot and bothered, this guy here, And they go to another part of the plantation where there's this one Jake that's on a tree, and he's being whipped by this big-ass Edomite. So I took that as the elites pretty much throwing that out there, that they know who Jake is. Because the guy said at the dinner table, if God created the world, how do we know what things we can change and what things must remain inviolable? And the word inviolable, that's like to violate, right? Not to remain unviolated, pretty much. And the very next scene was Jake into slavery, So I took that as these devils know what's going on, and they know that what they did to Jake is wrong. Just like to the so-called, or to the Northern Kingdom, when Christopher Columbus and the rest of those devils came over here. They know it was wrong what they did. So I just want to hit a couple of precepts on that and then move to the next point, which kind of ties into this, because it kind of ties into slavery. The very next part of the lesson ties into slavery. So I just want to get a couple of precepts, and take it to the next part of this, and hopefully through the Spirit it'll be edifying. And shalom to the Akim and the Akworth on the comment board. This is Jeremiah 49:12. When you start from the 7th verse, this is addressed to Edom, concerning Edom, just so you know. So the 12th verse says, for thus saith the Lord, this is the Most High speaking, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. What is the cup? The cup is slavery. Who are the ones that weren't supposed to drink of that cup? Israelites. And what did the Lord say? They have assuredly drunken. And we drank and we gulped it down. It says, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? So We went into captivity. You think you're not going to go into captivity? You don't think that you're going to pay? You don't think that you deserve and merit to pay for what you've done to the children of the Lord? When the Lord spoke about the controversy of Zion. And this is why Vocab and them are fighting so hard to say that we're not the Israelites and hoping that this whole thing just goes away. It's not going to go away, man. You can't wipe that history away. Even though you've tried and you're trying, you can't wipe it away. It's a stain on the blot. The Lord said he will spew shameful spewing on your glory, because everyone knows that slavery is what built this country. Everyone knows that while you stealing this land from the natives and the rest of from Canada all the way down to South America and everything in between, that's what built up America, made America great and this part of the world great. You know what you did. So you have to pay for that. It says, thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So there's nothing you can do to get around that. All right. Now let's go from there to same book, Jeremiah, chapter 30 and verse 16. It says, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured. So the ones that did the devouring, and boy did they devour us, you know, they shall be devoured. So you're going to be devoured. It says, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, the other nations included, Esau and the other nations included, shall go into captivity. That's a fancy way of saying slavery. And they that spoiled thee, or they that robbed you, shall be a spoil. You're going to be the spoil. You're going to be the booty. You know, the spoil, the thing that is going to get stolen. It says, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. And to this day they're preying upon us. You know, all of these different traps that they're setting, these snares and traps that they're setting, they're setting it for what? So that Jake can fall in it and fall into this the agenda of the New World Order. You know, from everything that's happening, from the vaccines to the lockdown to the, you know, to the wearing of the mask and all that, which is to the financial crisis that's happening, to the lack of food, all to push that microchip. So all those traps, you said it, you were like a predator, and we're the prey, and you're gonna be the prey in the kingdom of heaven. All right, I got a couple more precepts, and then we can move on to the next point. Zechariah 11 and 4. Thus saith the Lord my power, feed the flock of the slaughter. So the flock of the slaughter is Jake, because they were slaughtered by Esau. So the flock of the slaughter, right? Whose possessors slay them. So who are the possessors that slay us? Esau and the other nations. So this is the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. So they slayed us, and they hold themselves not guilty. Because all throughout the history of this country, whenever there was a situation against Esau and Judah, who did they judge in favor of? The Edomites. See? So it says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord. Yeah, because they feel that the Most High is on their side. For I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So they became rich off of the backs of Jake, from the southern kingdom all the way down to the northern kingdom. And the shepherds are supposed to be these pastors in these churches that do not give a damn about the flock. All they care about is lining their pockets, you know, and they're going to be dealt with too. All right. And the last precept on this particular topic is the book of Nahum, chapter 1 and verse 3. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power. And this is the reason why you devils are allowed to do what you're doing and continue on with what you're doing without any repercussions as of yet. Because the Most High said, what if the Most High, willing to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? Because you already been fitted. You've been suited and booted for destruction. You've been tailor-made for destruction. The wicked is made for the day of wrath. But the thing is, the Most High is patient Long suffering, meaning he suffers long because of his prophecies. And that is the key. But it says the Lord is slow in anger and great in power and will not at all acquit the wicked. So the Lord is not going to acquit you. You're not going to get off. You got yourself off. You didn't make yourself pay. You know, you feel like as if you're entitled. You feel as if that the slavery that you put the southern kingdom in and the northern kingdom in, and the stealing of the land and the killing of the people and the murdering the people, the raping, you know, everything, the slavery and all that should just go away, and you should have nothing to do. You don't have to pay anymore. And a lot of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, you aid in that thought and idea that these devils have. Because if it was up to you, you give them a pass for all the shit that they've done. But that's where the Most High is going to step in, because he's the power. He's the ultimate judge. He's the one that's going to give the equity. He's the one that's going to give the judgment. He's the one that's going to lay it down and make sure that they pay. And he said that he's going to lay his vengeance upon Edom by the hand of his people, Israel. And there's nothing that these devils could do to get around that. And they know it. That's why you got your vocabs and these flunkies trying hard. And you got Israelites helping them to try and stop this. But you can't stop this, man. It's already on the road. This roller coaster ain't going to stop till this bitch drop. When Yahushua comes back and cracks them clouds, that's when it's going to be done and over with. And that's going to be the beginning of the next chapter in the book, which is the kingdom of heaven, which is our glory and your hell. So now, why did this happen? Slavery and all this, all that that happened to us. Why did it happen? It happened because of prophecy. Every word of the Most High has to be fulfilled before the Lord makes a move to the next phase of his plan. Remember, this is a very well calculated plan that the Most High set up. You know, every thought, every move, everything is very well calculated, strategically calculated. And now it's about to shift into the different positions that it has to do and for prophecy to be fulfilled, and then the kingdom come after the destruction and after everything else that happens. But slavery, which we went through, you know, happened because of prophecy, which leads me to the next part of this lesson, which earlier this morning I was watching the brother Rakaya Kwam out there in the England camp, and he was doing a very good lesson on Yahushua being the Redeemer. You know, he used the word Gaal, which that word sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember what it was, so I had to look it up. And it means to redeem or redeemer. You know, he was going into, if I'm not mistaken, he was going into how Yahushua is going to redeem back our land. I mean, if he happens to be in the comments, you know, if in the watching the lesson, he can post it, you know, if he wants, if he happens to be there. But pretty much that Yahushua is coming back to redeem back our land to us. So what that brought to mind was, you know, Yahushua being our redemption, period. You know, and it brought to mind the 144,000 who vocab Malone is trying to say that the book of Revelation was pretty much just an allegory, so to speak, you know, a figure of speech, that it wasn't actually speaking about the Israelites. It was just a figure of speech, which I don't know where the hell he got that from. He pulled that one straight out of his ass. That's what we call him, vocab Mahong, which the word Mahong is a big, fat turd. All right? No, pun intended. So let's go there real quick. Revelation 7. You know, sometimes thoughts will come in your mind. You know, the Spirit will give you certain thoughts, you know, and inspiration. And sometimes it's like one point after another. Sometimes it's a little sporadic, you know. But it's all in all, that's how the Spirit operates, you know. And we're just trying to surf on that wave best as we can. All right. So now let's go to Revelation 7:4. It says, "And I heard the number of them which were sealed." Matter of fact, let's start from the first verse. "And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree," meaning the destruction. So the Most High has, in his infinite power, which he doesn't need it, but he has angels holding back this destruction, making sure that they're working on the minds of these different devils out there, different nations and different leaders, not to do anything unless the Most High gives the go-ahead. That's why it says the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, and he molds it whichever way he wants to, in so many words in the book of Proverbs. And I saw another angel descending from the east, having the seal of the living power, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. And that seal represents the thawab, or the exemption from judgment, that's going to be put inside, or that is inside of the elect. It just has to be magnified by these words that are written in this book, saying, hurt not the earth, nor the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads, right? Until the servants were sealed, the servants of the Lord. So who are the servants of the Lord? The prophets that go out there and teach his word. It says, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So how can these Israelites, these 144,000 of the 12 tribes, be sealed from this destruction if this is just a figurative thing? You see, this is not a figurative thing. This is actually physical. And the reason why the tribe of Dan is not here, we don't know. But in the kingdom, we'll find out. Because when you read the scriptures, the tribes of Israel were only 12. There wasn't 13 or 14 or 11 or 10. It was there's a word for it, I can't think of it right now. But the concept, for lack of better words, is 12. That's why it mentions the 12 tribes, the 144,000, which had a seal put in their foreheads, which shows you this is something. This is physical. That the Lord is going to put spiritually, put inside of their mind this seal, because this seal that the Lord is going to give, when we go back to Ezekiel the 9th chapter, is what's going to exempt these men from the judgment to come. So this is an actual thing that's going to happen, and the reason why that seal is going to be put into them is so that destruction doesn't destroy them. And you got the angels holding back the destruction until the 144,000 is sealed. You see? So that's the whole dynamic of that. So this is talking about physical. Now, what I did, it's physical Israel, not figurative. This is not a figure of speech. This is actual and factual of what the Most High said. And this is the plans of the Most High. So now, what that brought to mind, the next thought is Revelation 14. And we're going to start at the first verse. The point is in either the third or the fourth verse. It says, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion. The lamb is Yahushua. John actually saw this. And with him 144,000. So John saw the lamb on the Mount Zion representing Israel. But the Mount Zion, the top of the mount, representing the governing body of the nation of Israel underneath Yahushua. And he's standing on top. Why? Because he's the top governor, the top leader, the top king, right? And with him, this is actually what John saw, 144,000. So what he saw was 144,000 men, the same 144,000 men that we read in Revelation, the 7th chapter, standing with Yahushua, right? Getting ready for the kingdom to be set up, having his father's name written in their foreheads. Why? Because that's a part of the seal. The father's name, the son's name, and this truth through the Holy Spirit. All right? This engrafted word which is able to save your souls. That's what it is. And a part of all of that is the name of the Father and the Son through the Holy Spirit. It says, and I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters. That's Yahushua's voice. And as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne and before the four beasts, because these are actually beasts that are in the heavens, and the elders. You have elders up there, angels. And no man can learn that song but the 144,000. So this song is what? The song of deliverance. of what's coming. The song that's being taught, which Yahweh Shai said in Revelation the fourth, John the 14th chapter, that even the Spirit of truth whom the world cannot receive. So the only ones that can receive it is the ones that it was given to in the beginning. And the only ones that will listen to the ones that were set up from the beginning are the ones that the Lord chose from the foundation of the world. Remember, Ephesians the first chapter, the predestination. This is from the beginning, before the foundations, before anything was even created on the earth. You had these men, these spirits that were already set up for redemption. So these 144,000, right, which were what? Which were redeemed from the earth. So these are actual physical men that were redeemed from the earth. So how can Revelation 7 be figurative when those 144,000, which is the same 144,000 here, were being sealed? Why? So that they wouldn't suffer the destruction that's coming. And then here we're reading that these men, these 144,000 men, that this song that was being sung, this new song that was being sung, no one could learn it but them, and that they were redeemed from the earth, meaning brought back from the earth. So let's go to that word redeemed. Like I said, building off of the lesson that the brother did earlier. You know, he had, if I'm not mistaken, he went in a different direction with it. So when I looked that up, you know, this particular scripture, it led me in a different direction to tie the whole lesson together. And Lord's will, like I said, it'll be edifying and you'll understand. So now the Greek word there for redeemed is agorazo. And the word agorazo is where you get the word agora from, right? To be in the marketplace, to attend it, to do business there, buy or sell of idle people, to haunt the marketplace, lounge there. So this is a marketplace. So what is a marketplace for? A marketplace is somewhere you would go to take your hard-earned money, and when you wanted to buy anything, you had to do what? You had to redeem that money that you worked for whatever substance you wanted. Whether it was incense, whether it was oils, whether it was fruit, whether it was vegetables, whether it was meat, whether it was a dress for your woman, or the woman went to go buy a dress for herself, or whether the man needed, you know, whatever wares were being sold there. You had to have a redemption from the standard of money at that time, which today would be the so-called dollar bill in America, to get whatever you need. And there was a certain set price gauge, so to speak, that was set up that, okay, if you want to get this, it's going to cost you so and such and this much and that much. Okay? Similar to today. So them being redeemed was giving me the idea of not physical money, but by spiritual money, by the blood of Yahweh Shai, which Yahweh Shai became the ultimate sacrifice. So the comparison of these men being redeemed from the earth, these 144,000, which were actual, not figurative, was like a business exchange, right? And when I read this, the next precept that came to mind was the business exchange of the book of, or the redemption of the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and the 68th verse, which these devils are trying to say that this can't be talking about so-called black people, because they were never bought and they were never sold as slaves, and no one never said, no, I don't want to buy you. That's if you take it for face value. Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Egypt was a place of our captivity. Egypt today would be known as spiritually Egypt and Sodom, which is America. Again, why? Because we were going to go into captivity again, but this time was by way of ships. First time we walked into Egypt. This time the Lord said, when you go into this particular Egypt, you're going to go by way of ships. So what nation of people were ever brought into slavery by way of ships? So-called Negroes. You had some of the Latin tribes and so-called Native American Indian tribes that did go through it, but the major portion of that fell upon, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, so-called Negroes, the Haitians, and the West Indians. Not necessarily in that order. It says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, because this was something that was already told to our forefathers that was going to happen to them if they disobeyed the law, statutes, and commandments. When you go back up to the 15th verse of this same chapter, thou shalt see it no more again, meaning we were never going to see our land ever again until Yahweh brought us back. And there you shall be sold. See, you shall be sold unto your enemies, not your friends. For bondmen, which are slave men, and bondwomen, which are slave women. And then if we take this for face value, as these wacky-tacky Christians, mainly the Edomites, want you to believe, and no man shall buy you. See, so that didn't happen because the slaves were actually bought. This is not talking about buying with physical money. Although this particular word here for buy, shall buy you, qanah, right? It could be applied for actually buying with money, or it could be also applied to a redemption. All right. In this case, it's talking about a redemption. Now let's prove that. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter and the 6th verse. It says, Do ye thus requite the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, O foolish people and unwise? This is the Lord speaking to the nation of Israel, because they were going off. Remember, Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, boy, Jake was just run wax fat and kicked. So it says, Do ye thus requite the Lord, O foolish people and unwise? Is not he thy father that hath bought thee? Hath he not made thee and established thee? So the word there is bought thee. So the Lord bought us. How did the Lord buy us? By redeeming us from Egypt, from under the hand of the Pharaoh, and from under the iron furnace that they had upon Jake. So lo and behold, when we look up that word bought, right, in the Hebrew, what do you got? Qanah, which is the same word that we find in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, which this word here, qanah, is in the sense of buying as far as a redemption is concerned. Not physical, but it was a spiritual transaction. So that's how the Lord brought us out of the nation of, or from among the nation of the Egyptians. So it's the same word used here in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Same exact word, which is to redeem. So if we read it with the word redeem or redemption there, in the book of Deuteronomy 32:6, do you thus requite the Lord of foolish people and unwise? Is not he thy father that redeemed thee? Hath he not made thee and established thee? So this is a redemption, just like this is a redemption. You shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall redeem you. Now, why is that? Because there is a such thing in the scriptures known as the law of redemption. And the law of redemption is whenever you had an Israelite that fell into poverty, extreme poverty, sometimes he would have to sell himself into slavery to other Israelites and to other nations. And you had other Israelites that were well-to-do, that were able, as brothers, be able to redeem that man back from among those people. So there came a point where that was not going to be able to happen. Why? Because these curses were going to be upon us to what? To destroy us and bring us down. So no man was able to redeem us back again, as they were once able to do. And there was many forms of redemption, whether it was the land, whether it was the actual physical man, that was sold into slavery, whether it was your cattle, whether it was your goods, whatever the case is. It all depended on the level of the redemption, or what the redemption consisted of. So when we read Leviticus 25:47, it says, and if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, this is an actual heathen, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of the stranger's family, after that he is sold, he may be redeemed again one of his brethren may redeem him. So this is the law on redemption, that you could be redeemed. So when we read in Deuteronomy 28, no man shall redeem you. No man is going to be able to buy you back. No man is going to be able to redeem you back so that you don't have to be in captivity. And that's what this is talking about. All right. It says either his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or any that is nigh of kin unto him of his family may redeem him, or if he be able, he may redeem himself. Just like the Most High bought us, which is what? Redemption. The Lord didn't take out no shekel, no heavenly shekels, and pay Pharaoh to let us go. He brought us out by many miracles and signs and wonders, the plagues that happened, and the parting of the sea. So there was going to be no man able to redeem us from these curses in general. And when you read through the curses, you come across that same sentiment written in different ways. Just like the 68th verse is written, no man shall buy you. In other verses is written a little different. But it gives the same sense as this. All right. Now let's get some of those examples. Let's go to the 32nd verse first. And it says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, right? Because they're going to be sold into what? Into slavery. And thine eyes shall look and shall fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand, because you weren't going to be able to redeem them back. Remember, we read about an uncle and different individuals that were able to redeem other Israelites. But no man was going to be, you yourself weren't able to redeem your own children back. That was a part of the curse. Now let's jump from there to the 29th verse. It says, and thou shalt grope at noonday as a blind gropeth in darkness. So you see that happen with Jake all the time. Some of them don't even so out of there that they don't even know who they are. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. You see that with Jake all the time. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, because everything you do, you're spoiled evermore. You got talent? Guess what? That talent is getting exposed. It's getting extorted. It's getting spoiled by Amalek and the other nations. Here it is. You got the greatest talent. They make all the money, and you make a little bit of money. Tell me that ain't a curse. It says, and no man shall save thee. Meaning no man is going to be able to redeem thee, because these curses are going to stick to us like white on rice. Going back to the law of redemption. Now let's jump to the 31st verse. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. You're not going to be able to be redeemed back. You're not going to be able to be bought back. No one's going to be able to help you. So Deuteronomy 28:68, when it says, and you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, for slave men and slave women, and no man shall redeem you. Because your kinsmen that were able to redeem you in the past, that were rich, guess what? They're going to be in the same predicament that you are. They're going to be right next to you. So how are they going to be able to redeem you if they're in the same predicament? That's what it's talking about. Now, let's move on from there. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 50, and verses 1 and 2. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shemel Chai, where is the bill of your mother's divorcement, whom I have put away? Or which of my creditors is it to whom I have sold you? Yeah, because you had the ability to sell somebody to your creditors, because remember this story in the New Testament. I believe it was a woman that had either a son or two sons, and one of them got put to death, and then the other one, they wanted to take him away or sell him or something like that. I can't really remember the particulars, because that's what would happen when you would fall into so much debt. You either had to give up your land, your cattle, your goods, whatever money you had, or you had to sell yourself or your children. And you didn't have enough to redeem them back. This is what this is talking about. Behold, for your iniquities have you sold yourselves, and for your transgressions as your mother put away. Wherefore, when I came, was there no man? When I called, was there none to answer? Yeah, so who was the one that was able to stand up after all this happened to redeem anybody back? Who? Who was worthy to bring that redemption? Obviously not a man on earth. It had to come through Yahushai, the Son of the Most High. Is my hand shortened at all that it cannot redeem? See? So the Most High would have to redeem. And how did the Lord bring that redemption? Through Yahushai. Why? Because no man shall save thee. No man shall buy thee. No man shall redeem thee. You should not be able to redeem yourself. Or have I no power to deliver? Behold, at my rebuke I dry up the sea. I make the rivers a wilderness. Their fish stinketh, because there is no water, and dieth for thirst. So the Most High can do everything and anything. Now let's go from there to the next, the 2 chapters next down. Isaiah 52:3. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you have sold yourselves for naught, for nothing, and you shall be redeemed without money. So it's not going to be a physical transaction. It's going to be a spiritual transaction, which is where the thawah comes into place. The exemption from judgment that the Most High is going to put, or the seal that the Most High is going to put into the men and the women that are a part of the elect. So you shall be redeemed without money. Now let's go from there to 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 20. Just go to the point. It says, for you are bought with a price. Therefore glorify the Most High in your body and in your spirit, which are the Most High. And what was that price? Yahushai shedding his blood for us. But before we go there, let's go to 1 Corinthians 7:23. You are bought with a price. Be not ye the servants of men, because we are the servants of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because we were bought with a price. And what was that price? That price was the ultimate price that anybody could pay to get that ultimate redemption that you could not do physically. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 18. It says, for as much as you know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things as silver and gold from your vain conversations received by tradition from your fathers, but with the precious blood of Yahushai, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. Because that blood, that precious blood, was the only way that we would receive any form of redemption. That's why Yahushua had to subject himself to all of that pain and turmoil and shame to be able to redeem us back to the Father, adopt us back to the Most High. That's what we can call him now, Abba, Father. It says, who verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was made manifest in these last times for you. Now let's go from there to Isaiah, the 47th chapter and the 6th verse. I was wroth with my people. I'm sorry, not 6, verse 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. That's dealing with Esau. Yea, thy shame shall be seen, and it's being seen right now, because this is a part of the manifestation or the destruction of Esau's kingdom, is to be manifested, who they are and what they have done. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Why? Because no man shall buy thee. Only our Savior, Yahushua, can come and redeem us. Because he already laid down the price 2,000 years ago, which is that precious blood. It says, as for our Redeemer, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. So now let's go from there to Revelation chapter 5 and verse 9. It says, and they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book, which is the Bible, and to open the seals thereof, because at one time the mysteries were sealed. Now we got the mysteries through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakakudash. And that's why we're able to have that seal and understand that it was through the blood of Yahushua that we were redeemed back to the Father, because no man was able to save us. So that's why we wait for our Savior to come back to deliver us from this hellhole. For thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to the Most High by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. Why? Because the Israelites were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And has made us unto our God, our power, kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. This is literal. And there was no other nation promised to be the kings. Kingdom of priests, who was that promised to? The Israelites. A kingdom of priests and kings. All right. Now, the last precept I have is Romans 11. We can start at the 25th verse, because now we get the full understanding that all of Israel is going to be saved, because Yahushua died for the whole nation of Israel. But the only ones that's going to be saved in this time are the elect only. Romans 11:25. For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, because it is a mystery. And that's why they fight us tooth and nail, because it's a mystery that they cannot understand. And seeing that they can't understand it because they weren't given the ability to understand it, they fight us every step of the way. It says, least you should be wise in your own conceits. That blindness in part has happened to Israel, the ones that knew that they were Israelites back then, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in, because there was a certain number of Israelites that were among the Gentiles that were being called Gentiles or heathen or uncircumcised, that had to be brought into the fold to make the whole part right. And then once that set number came in, the rest of the Israelites that knew they were Israelites would be woken back up, and that would seal the deal. That's what the Lord is building up. What? The church, which is what? The tabernacles of David. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written. There shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. You see? Because the one that's going to redeem us is Yahushua. So when the scriptures say, no man shall buy thee, no man shall redeem thee. Why? Because you had a law of redemption. That some of your kin, near kin, can redeem you back if you fell in decay. And they were supposed to set it up and help you and build you back up so that you could be sustained on your own again. And that's what, when you read through that chapter, it says that you should not oppress one another by lending, by usury and all of that. But you had wicked ass motherfuckers back then and now that do that shit. You know? So like I had to throw a little modern day French in there. But pretty much that's the point, you know. So this has been the truth in plain sight and true redemption. All right. And like I said, the first part of it was dealing with the movie Cloud Atlas, which around the 657 mark, you know, it gave that you know, they spoke about this certain situation. And then the next scene after that was slavery. All right. And then the next part of it was this brother here, Rakaya Kwam, who he did this video, which I was watching earlier, the live. And that gave me the idea to look up a couple of scriptures in Revelation and kind of build off of the brother's lesson, you know. And that's what gave me the inspiration to do the second part of this, you know, and to show you not only the redemption, but also that Revelation 7 is actually physical and not figurative, you know. So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers have been edified. And to the next time I say, Shalom.